Continuing coverage this morning on opioid settlement money and frustrations over how they're being used in our state.
A reminder, Michigan will get $1.6 billion by 2040 to help the opioid epidemic. That comes from national settlements with multiple pharmaceutical companies. Well, now Michigan is speeding up efforts to spend that money, but there's growing frustration from top advisors.
The leader of a legislative advisory commission says the resources they need to do their job are not included in the new budget. She tells me so far the process has been anything but smooth.
Every 4 hours,
one person in Michigan dies of opioid overdose alone.
A toll ticking up as the clock winds down on the money that could help stop it.
Put politics and departmental strife aside.
Dr. Kara Poland,
do the right thing for the state of Michigan,
spends every day trying to slow that down. But there is nothing about Poland that moves slowly.
I am one of the first 20 fellowship trained and board certified addiction medicine specialists in the United States.
A leader in the field and the state, heading up the Michigan Opioid Advisory Commission since it was created by the state legislature in 2022. But inside the commission, a standstill.
To be clear, we're hearing nothing from the opioid task force.
That task force, a completely separate one formed by the governor's office.
Every region of the state is represented.
It's led by Dr. Natasha Bagdasarian, the state's chief medical executive.
We're really talking to people who are either working on these issues on a day-to-day basis or people who have lived experience.
Dr. Bagdasarian presented their spending plan at a meeting in February. But Dr. Poland says it was decided without the OAC's input. In fact, that meeting was the first they'd gotten a hold of it.
It was disappointing to receive the information at the same time as everyone else because the Opioid Advisory Commission has committed to collaboration.
When I asked Dr. Bagdasarian about these concerns, she pointed to a recent membership expansion in the task force.
So there was a little gap when we were reforming this group of individuals. So during that time period, it is possible that there were some perceived issues with communication.
She disagrees with the accusations, saying their meetings are public and that all the data they can release is already on their website.
We have an obligation to the people of Michigan to make sure that any outside body who is asking for confidential data, patient identifier data, anything that is not yet publicly available, that we have data use agreements and things like that in place.
Dr. Poland says she hasn't been able to get a hold of Dr. Bagdasarian, the data they're looking for, or the funds the OAC needs to do their job.
However, without dialogue, it's impossible to do so.
They requested money to complete a needs assessment required by the 2022 state law that formed the commission.
Majority of the members
the state speeding up their spending.
Is adopted.
At the end of June, the legislature passing the state budget with more than $48 million allocated to fight the opioid epidemic. That's actually more than double what the opioid task force planned for in February. But that extra $25 million still does not include money for the OAC.
Being able to do our job requires that funding, and being able to support the citizens of Michigan requires the ability to see what the communities are asking for, what the data shows.
With time ticking down before the next round of spending, Poland is back to square one, working to get it into a supplemental package.
If, however, it is not funded at all this budget period, I think that what the OAC has heard from the public is that they are concerned about how this money is being appropriated.
Despite disagreements, both groups can agree this money and how it's spent is crucial.
This is time limited, and so we have to use it to really make the biggest impacts that we can now.
The crisis has claimed the lives of more than 13,000 Michiganders since 2019, making this funding deeply personal to many, including Dr. Poland.
Already on my way to being an addiction physician when my brother died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound secondary to his alcohol use disorder. And I always tell people that turned it from something I did as a job to something that I do as a passion.
She knows no amount of money could reverse time and bring back her loved ones. But this money could stop someone else from feeling the pain she deals with every day. Until then, she won't stop pushing for transparency.
The money is not forever, so this money will run out.
Until time,
we can do better,
runs out.
We did reach out to legislators about the funding Dr. Poland is asking for, but have not heard back, likely because of their summer recess. We'll have the full presentation on the 2025 spending plan on our website, 13yorside.com.